Hello there. Today we are going to use SVGs. SVGs are little snippets of code that you can use to build images. So as you guessed, the two images here are SVGs. A question that is asked a lot is Datastar a good framework to work with SVGs? But the question is backwards. SVGs are hypermedia. They are parsed by the browser, they are part of the spec. So the answer is, actually, if you work with SVGs, you're better off using Datastar, because you are going to work with hypermedia, and Datastar is the hypermedia framework. This is what I'm going to try to show you with this example. We've got these two little SVGs. You can see when I hover over them, I have some coloring. I can add text to an SVG. I can modify the thickness of a SVG. I can add a little rainbow effect to it. I can fill one of them with the French flag. I can make the other one dashed or dot. I can trigger an animation where they start bouncing. We'll disable this. I can zoom flawlessly. And I have then a range that I can use to morph one SVG into the other. I am going to explain all of these techniques. Let's start with the HTML. We are going to use Datastar, obviously. We are also going to use anim.js, which is a tiny library which we're gonna use to animate from one SVG to another. Then we have our input container, where all the inputs to modify the SVG are gonna be, but let's jump to the SVG container. And you see here, I start with my SVG tag, I give it an ID, and let's see the first behavior, which is the zoom effect. So SVGs are a bit tricky to understand at first. This is why I'm going to put in the description helpful resources that I used to understand how they work. You define the size of an SVG, then you define the view box, which is kind of a linear scaling effect. And this is what we are going to use for the zoom. As you guessed, we are using a zoom signal, which is going to be, of course, defined here in a range, ranging from -200 to 0. See, I just have to type this. Then I compute some signals. Using that, I computed for the width and the height. And then I use some JavaScript inside the data@, to set up viewbox at the right format, which is going to be a string of text separated by spaces, the X, Y, width of the viewbox, height of the viewbox. I have icons still, but you can see here. I'm going to zoom a bit. That in the resulting HTML, we have the attribute viewbox, and when I change this, you see the attribute viewbox changing. And because we are modifying the viewbox, the two parameters at the same time, it gives us the zoom effect. Alright, so that was fairly easy. Just use data@, to set the attributes you want on an SVG. What now? we can also use definitions inside of SVGs. This means pieces of code that you're going to use later. You want to define them here, but you can reuse them in multiple shapes, text, forms, path, everything you want. So we define a gradient for the French flag, gradient for the Spanish flag. We also define two paths, so a series of points which are going to be useful later and will be referenced by their ID. Linear gradient 1 and 2, path 1 and 2. You can also use the G object with SVG. It is going to work a bit like div in HTML, in that it is an element that is neutral but passes its attribute to its children. So here I define a G element and I give it some attributes. For example, stroke red, because I want the two shapes to have a red stroke. And then I continue with my data attributes to define the stroke width, to define something for the rainbow effect. I want them to not be filled, and I want them to be round. Let's see in the HTML, you see here that the width, right here, is modified. And because my two shapes are inside this G element, they will inherit the stroke width attribute of the shape, becoming thicker or thicker, or thinner or thinner. For the rainbow effect, when I click this, because data attribute rainbow was bound to this checkbox, rainbow equals true, and here we are going to take a look at the CSS, because SVGs are part of the HTML and thus they can be used to, and thus you can use CSS to style them. So for example, I am searching for anything with an attribute of rainbow and I give them the rainbow animation. So as you can see, SVGs behave a lot like regular HTML, with Gs acting like divs, attribute inheritance, and the ability to act on them with CSS and selectors. If I give an ID of G1 to this G, I can use it in my CSS to style only the text in that div if you want. Everything that we use, for example use, can be targeted with CSS. Let's see the use. So use is how I reuse my definitions that I saw earlier. You just type use and an href to the definition. So I want to use the first path that I defined, and I want it to be filled with a linear gradient that I defined earlier. In an attribute you can't use the hashtag, so you have to use URL instead. So the first one will reuse the path 1 and be filled with either the French linear gradient or the Spanish linear gradient. I will show you how I define them, just like this. Give an ID, linear gradient 1, give an ID for the path. You can use with href, and you can use them this way into attributes. Then we want to have some text, and the text can have a data show attribute. This is how I toggle key on and off. You can use data text inside the text with no problem. So you see that Kiki morphs to Buki, then morphs to Booba. And if you give a reference in a text path, the text will follow the path that you put as a reference. See, you can have some nice text animations that way, while keeping the dynamic, reactive aspects of Datastar to change the text, to change the attributes of it, or to even change the path. And we use another one, and we have another signal if you want it to be dashed or dotted or solid. And then we close it. Finally, we are going to see how to move from one path to another. This is a neat trick. We are going to use anim.js that we imported earlier, and they have a built-in function to do this, which is animate from one path to another. So they use the fact that you can morph the element representing the path from one value to another. And what we are going to do is set autoplay to false, so it doesn't trigger immediately. And then we define a time signal ranging from 0 to the final time of the animation. And we say on every request animation frame by the browser, this animation that we define in anim.js will seek the corresponding time. You will have the link to anim.js in the description. It is a really easy library to understand and lots of great examples. So I can just seek a point in time in that animation with a slider, tying the two of them to a signal that I can update from the front, from the back. It's really easy and really powerful. One final thing, we kind of built everything in a single page because the goal was to have a cheat sheet of SVG tricks that you can use and you can reference. By doing this only with signals, I can then upload it to GitHub pages, so you can consult this whenever you have a question on how I did this stuff with SVGs. If you are interested with other demos such as updating SVG from the backend, so let's say you are retrieving data from financial stuff and you want to use a SVG element to represent a bar chart or a real-time visualization of something, please tell me in the comments. We can do another backend SVG example, and I hope that you will bookmark this GitHub page. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.